Lord, may your glory be seen and proclaimed. Amen. In one of the more spooky stories in church legend, St. Augustine is walking on a beach, and he had been working for 30 years on his take on the Holy Trinity, to try to explain to people finally how they could understand the Trinity. And he saw a boy up ahead, and he had a clamshell, and he'd go to the ocean and fill up the shell and take it to a hole in the sand and empty it, and then go back to the ocean and fill up the clamshell again and empty it. And after watching for a few minutes, St. Augustine went up to this boy and said, "Surely you don't think you can empty the ocean into this hole?" And the boy looked back up at him and said, "And just like you couldn't possibly think that you could, with your limited mind, understand the Holy Spirit." And so, taken aback in that moment of introspection, he was looking inward, and then he looked back up, and the boy was gone. Jesus takes 3 disciples up a mountaintop. And as they're praying, he is transfigured. The veil is pulled away, and Peter and James and John look into heaven. And Peter says, "I know what we should do. We're going to build a little dwelling here and here and here, so we'll never forget that this happened, and we can come back to this mountain, and maybe we can experience it again someday." What do you think? Of course, the response was a cloud and a voice. Just listen to Jesus. But we do that though, right? We humans, when confronted with the inconceivable, the uncontainable, try our best to capture it, to hold on to it. It's a beautiful desire on our part. It comes out of a desperation, I think, in a certain sense. But I think it also comes out of fear. It's something so grand and holy and impossible to understand. Laurel and I, as we were planning our wedding 11 years ago, did what many couples do, which is hire a videographer to not just videotape the reception, but also the ceremony. I think out of a similar desire to want to capture something that we knew that day was going to be too big for us. And it was an amazing day, and it has been an amazing marriage. But I haven't watched the video since, in those 11 years. And it reminds me, I think, if Peter had an iPhone, maybe that's what he would have said instead. Just let me get my phone. I need to get this on video, right? But I think the reason I haven't watched that video again is because I treasure not only the memory inside me more, but even more than that, what I treasure is what I'm still living out, what I'm still experiencing, what changed for me that day, and what continues to shape me from that day, the relationship that is continued. And maybe that really at the root is what Peter was doing. Going back to that fear that perhaps there was almost this coping mechanism, this desire for protection, because what Peter really understood at some level was his life was never going to be the same afterward. That this man that could have otherwise just been a good teacher and somehow seemed to be performing these acts of healing, but after this experience on the mountain, there was no going back. It's kind of the problem with Christianity, actually, in a whole. It's not about a particular event. We have some good ones we celebrate, but it's about a relationship. And it's about a relationship that will change us to the extent that we will let God in. And I, like the rest of you, would probably on most days rather not, because of how that relationship will change us. But I invite you to take that next step, whatever it is for you, to just say yes. So whatever is that next thing that God is inviting you into that may in fact be pretty scary. Don't try to capture it, memorialize it, don't try to hold it off. What's that next thing? And God said in the cloud, listen to him. Pay attention to him. And let's pay attention to what Jesus does next. He doesn't dwell either on that mountain in that glory. They come back down. And they again are confronted with the pressing crowds in need of healing, of hope, of liberation. And as Jesus cares for them, he sets his face to Jerusalem, toward a cross, and he invites us to follow.